Hello and welcome back again to Mark Clemens Postcards. We're here to take a look at what sold this past week, and we will also be taking a look at some more cards from my personal collection. The postcard pups, Ellie and Lucy, pass along a cheery hello to you. As you know, this is their traditional day off on Sunday, and they are busy engaged in their favorite activity, which is napping. So anyway, we have a lot of things to look at this week, so let's get started. As you can see here for the week, my sales were a vast improvement over last week. I sold a total of $947.57. That consisted of 125 cards sold. My average price was $7.58. So I avoided being run over a second time by the eBay bus, and that was a nice improvement from last week. Wasn't as nice as the week before that, but this is the eBay roller coaster that we are all riding. And you know as well as I do, things are up and down, but it's what's important is what happens over the long haul. So I'm very happy with that week. That was a nice bounce back from last week. So looking at some of the cards that made this up, obviously I'm not going to show you 125 of them because you probably will fall asleep like my dogs are right now. So I'm just going to give you a nice sampling to give you a pretty good variety of what kind of things sold and what kind of things you can sell as well. First up, the first card here is Alsonique, Michigan. This is Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox. This is at it says Paul Bunyan Lookout, and there's Paul over there and there's the Blue Ox. This is a chrome card, and it is postally unused, as you can see. That one sold for $5.95. Next up, we have actually a group of cards. I had a buyer who came in and bought 13 cards for a total of $51. I'm not going to show you all those, but this is one of them. And I took offers on most of them, but being that he was buying 13 cards, I was more than willing to work with him on the prices. This one is Fayetteville Street, looking north in Raleigh, North Carolina. Everything that he bought was either North Carolina or South Carolina, and this was one of them. But as I said, 13 cards, total of $51. Next up, we have a view in Palm Beach, Florida. This is the Breakers Hotel. This is a hand-colored card, divided back era. You can see the vintage automobiles there and the hotel itself. A nice Florida view that sold for $5.95. Here we have the cotton mill of F.W. Poe Company in Greenville, South Carolina. That is a factory, what I classify as factory or industry related. This is an undivided back, as you can see, just the address on the back. This was postmarked in 1907, and that sold for $5.95. This is the Lawson General Hospital and Medical Department Technicians School in Atlanta, Georgia. This, I believe, is a linen era card, yes. And it is also postally unused. That one sold for $5.95. Here we have another buyer who bought more than one card. This buyer bought 3 cards for a total of $17. This was the best of the 3, or the highest price of the 3. This is a White Mountain Apache government scout. His name was Bonito. And I would have that categorized under ethnicities, Native American. Very nice card. It's clean, white border era. White border era. You can see it's postally unused. That one was listed for $11.95. I believe I took an offer of $8 on that one. Next, we have a cowboy postcard. This is a West Texas working cowboy rear view. Now, I don't know what he's doing there. It looks like maybe he's rolling a cigarette or something. But this is a linen card. It was postmarked 1943, as you can see. And again, that's a cowboy western theme. That one sold for $4.95. Here we have a real photo postcard. I think I might have shown this card in one of my postcard purchases videos. This is a real photo of some people in Santa Barbara, California. And ordinarily, a real photo postcard like this would not be that desirable or valuable. But what was nice about this one, on the back, someone had written this note that said wedding party January 1917, and it gave the names of everyone in the picture from left to right. And then at the bottom it says in front of 1520 Rancheria Street, Santa Barbara, California. So they did a good job of identifying not only the people but the location, which is what I think sold this card. And that was listed for $9.95, and I took an offer of $8 on that one. Here we have another real photo postcard. This is from Orange, California. This was among a group of probably about 15 or 20 cards I recently purchased. They're in a large lot of cards I bought, and I found these Orange, California cards. This is one of them. This is the public library. You can see this card is unused, has a bit of writing on the back, but it is postally unused. This one sold for $14.95. And same buyer bought this one as well. This is the Union High School in Orange, California. Again, not posted, some writing on the back, and it does date it as 1944. And this one sold for $19.95, both of those to the same buyer. Next, we have a view at the Maple Springs Hotel at Chautauqua Lake, New York. You can see what I would guess would be the hotel back here. And here's a couple ladies at the edge of the water. This is a divided back card. It was postally used in 1909. And I did, this was listed for $7.95. I did take an offer of $7 on this card. Here we have a fun card. These are some dachshunds. This is a German card, and you can see the writing in German here, and this translates to 3 souls, 1 thought. And I think we can see from where their eyes are looking what their thought is. And this card is postally used, 1951. This card is just slightly larger than a standard card, not by much, maybe a 1/4 inch all the way around. But dachshunds are a good sell. This one was listed for $14.95, and I took an offer of $13.50. Here we have another real photo postcard. This is a residence at 301 Arthur Avenue in Scottsdale, Pennsylvania. That's a small town not far from me here. And again, what makes this go from your run-of-the-mill unidentified real photo postcard to something that's sellable is the fact that on the back we do have a postmark of Scottdale. It was postmarked in 1909. And the address as well up here in the corner. And so that information allows us to locate this card, and it sold for the asking price of $12.95. Probably could very well likely be a one-of-a-kind view, and most likely that house is still standing today, and somebody lives there who would be interested in having a 100-year-old view of their house. Next, another real photo similar to the last one. This is a residence house in Confluence, PA. And again, we were able to locate that due to the postmark. I'm counting on the fact that the postmark was sent from the originating town, and it went to Friedenville, Maryland. So on the off chance that that information was correct, I posted this, and it sold almost immediately to a buyer who I have sold to many times over the year, who collects this area of Confluence, Pennsylvania. So I feel pretty confident he recognized that, or he also was pretty sure that that's where this was located. That sold for the listing price of $9.95. Okay, here's another real photo, again from Orange, California. This was a different buyer than the previous two that we looked at, but this is a view on Glassell Street in Orange, California. Again, it's not postally used, just has a little bit of writing on the back. But if we take a closer look, lots to see in this view. There's people on the sidewalks. There's a lot of storefronts, visible signs. We have a drugstore there. We have a market there. Looking a little further down the street, we can see a theater with a theater marquee. And I'm pretty sure you can read the name of the movie and at least one of the actors. I don't remember it is. I do remember looking at that, but I don't remember who was on there. Here's a hardware store over here. We have a clock, some vintage autos in the street. So lots of things to see there. And that one sold pretty quickly for its listing price of $49.95. Next up, we have what I've mentioned these before. This is a laminated reproduction postcard. This is actually made from an authentic vintage postcard, but it has been copied and then reproduced, and it's laminated with a thick laminate, which makes it pretty firm, and it's waterproof. This one is of a view in Monessen, Pennsylvania. This is a view on 6th Street, and you can see this is a really nice old vintage view. And if you collected this town, this might be one that would be a little difficult to get in your collection, but having this laminated reproduction version would be better than nothing. And I do sell a few of these, and I have quite a bit of them, and they are selling slowly, but they are selling. And that's what this is. This was listed at $5.95, and I took an offer of $5 for that one. Here we have a high school. As I've mentioned before, almost everybody's gone to high school, so everyone has a high school that they can relate to. This one is in Dover, New Jersey. This is a white border card. It was postally used in 1920. You see the postmark there on the back. That one sold for the listing price of $5.95. Here we have the Firth Sterling Steelworks in McKeesport, PA. McKeesport is a suburb of Pittsburgh, not too far from here. Again, something I would classify as factory or industry. This is a divided back card. It was postally used in 1908. And this is a nice view of that factory. I'm sure it's probably not in existence, at least not as it appears on here today. This one sold for $9.95. Next, we have the Pavilion at Plum Island, Massachusetts. Not a lot going on in this picture. Just a pavilion, but that's a white border card. It's unused, pretty clean condition. That sold for $7.95. Next up, we have a military ship. This is the USS Oriskany. That's CV-34. That would designate what type of a ship it was. People who have served in the Navy probably know these letters and numbers, what all that means. I do not. This was a aircraft carrier, and you can see that here's the landing deck right there. Looks like a lot of planes lined up on the end of the ship over here. This probably is about like a World War II era. Yeah, well, it says here on the back, this ship was commissioned in September of 1950. So it's at least that old. So that card sold for $4.95. Next we have the Spring Hill Cottage Resort at Cheat Haven, Pennsylvania. This is a divided back card, and it was postmarked 1909. Has a little message, advertising message on the back. We have boating at Spring Hill Cottage, a summer resort on the Monongahela River near Point Marion, PA. And it gives the address of the proprietress there. And you can see that rates were $1 a day. So that sounds like a pretty good deal. This card has a little bit of writing on the front. And I think we have a corner crease down here. But that card sold almost immediately upon me listing it for $14.95. Here we have a ship, and this is another buyer who bought two cards, both of them ships. This is the Anchor Line steamship Caledonia. Looks like a white border card, unused. And I took an offer of $5 on this one. And the second card he bought is this. This is the SS America of the United States Line passenger cruise ship. This one looks a little newer. I think this is a Chrome era card, maybe late linen era card. But I also took an offer on this one of $5. So two ships to that one buyer for a total of $10. Here's an interesting card. This is the Wagon Elevator in Weehawken, New Jersey. And you could apparently drive your wagon onto the lift here, and it would take you up to the top, or vice versa, bring you down to the bottom. It is a divided back era card. It was postally used in 1911. It was listed for $9.95, and I took an offer of $8.50 on that one. Here we have a railroad related card. This is the double header train going up Saluda Mountain in North Carolina. You can see the train over here. Smoke belching out the engine there. It's chugging up. Looks like it's got two engines on the front of that one, which probably you would need on a mountain, climbing a mountain. This is a white border era card. It was postally used in 1916, and I took an offer on that of $6.75. Next up, another one of the laminated cards like the one we looked at a few minutes ago. This is Fifth Avenue looking north in New Kensington, Pennsylvania. Again, this was made from an original actual postcard. even though this is a copy and a reproduction. It's been laminated, but a really nice view. If you were a collector of street scenes, this is a really nice one. Or New Kensington, nice view to have in your collection. If you can't have the original, this is the next best thing. You can see some signage there, lots of vintage autos in the street. There's a sign for a restaurant there. Across the street we have a hardware store. You can see storefronts all the way down the street. This card sold for $5.95. Here we have a view in Ridgewood, New Jersey. This is the Rue Claire house. This is an undivided back card, postally used in 1908. It does have a tear here at the bottom edge. You can see that front and back. There's a horse-drawn carriage or wagon over here. I did call that tear out in the description, but that did not deter the buyer. This one sold pretty quickly for $5.95. Here we have a World War II era propaganda postcard. I almost didn't catch this the first time I glanced at it, and then I realized what I was looking at. These are, it says here, two of a kind, two skunks, and the face is a caricature of the Japanese Emperor Hirohito, who was in charge of Japan during World War II. And obviously this card is designed to make fun of and criticize him, comparing him to a skunk. This is a linen era card. It was used in 1943. I believe it has a vertical crease here, or somewhere on this card. That might be a line on my scanner, but I'm pretty sure this had a crease on it. But I listed that one, and it got an offer almost immediately, and we negotiated a little bit. This was listed for $9.95. I ended up selling this for $8. This is a real photo view. This is Camp Pendleton, California, which is a military base. It says Combat Town. So I guess that is probably where soldiers lived in this part of the base. This is their residential area. You can see it is postally unused. I am not sure the date of it. There's no stamp box to give me a clue there, but I would guess probably 1940s would be off the top of my head. This card was listed for $14.95, and I took an offer of $12.95. Here we have a view at the boat landing in Naples, Maine. A little bit far away, so let's zoom in a little bit. Here we see an airplane with pontoons on it for landing, taking off and landing on water. Here's kind of a boat dock there. Hard to read those signs, but over here we have an Esso station. I can read that sign. You can see some gas pumps and some old vehicles there. So that is a Chrome era view, unused, and that sold for $7.95. Next we have an aircraft or an airplane. This is a Republic F-84F Thunderstreak fighter bomber. This was in a U.S. Air Force aircraft. This is a Chrome era card. You can see it does say postcard, a little bit untraditional layout on that card, but a postcard nonetheless. Nice view. This was listed for $5.95, and I took an offer of $5.25. Here is a movie poster reproduction. This is Clara Bow in Love Among the Millionaires. This is a postcard, as you can see from the back. It is, let's see here. I think the date is on here. Yeah, it says 1971. So this is a reproduction of an old movie poster. And This, as I said, dated 1971, and this card is larger than your standard. This is an oversized postcard. It measures, I believe, 5 by 7. I picked up a handful of these in a large collection I bought several years back, and they have sold slowly over time, but I have sold a few of these. It's a really nice, colorful poster, and that one sold for $5.95. Here we have the Lighthouse Restaurant in East McKeesport. Again, we had a card from McKeesport earlier, a factory. This is a restaurant in East McKeesport. This is on the Lincoln Highway. This is a chrome era card. It's a black and white view, but it's a chrome. It's postally unused. I've had this one for a little while. It's a pretty neat view, and I'm surprised it took as long as it did to sell. You can see the date up here. It's been listed since 2015, so that's been a while. But it finally did sell, and it sold for $9.95. Next up, here we have a New York City card. Generally, really large cities like New York, Chicago, Los Angeles can be pretty tough sells, but if you can get something that's not real common or a little bit more interesting than the typical card, they are sellable. This is a view at Columbus Circle, and you can see all the trolleys here, which what I thought made it interesting and a little different than your more common views. This is a divided back era card. It's not used, and it was listed for $5.95. I took an offer of $5 on that one. Here is a card in Disneyland. This is the Davy Crockett Museum, as you can see here in the center of the card, in Frontierland. This is a chrome era card, obviously, being Disney. You can see the back of it. It is unused. It does have a number, and I know there are websites where you can research these. I took no time to research this card. I just put it up there, and it sold like in 5 minutes. So maybe I should have done more homework on that, but that's fine. I'm glad if somebody got a good buy, good for them. Glad to hear it. It sold for $4.95. Here we have a view at Lake Winnipesaukee, New Hampshire. This is the sunny side, which I'm going to guess to be like a hotel or an inn or a resort of some kind on Alton Bay at Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire. This is a white border card, very clean, nice condition, unused. You can see a lot of people gathered out front here, a couple vintage automobiles there. Got an American flag flying off the building. That's very nice. This card sold for $7.95. Here we have a artist sign card. This title of this card is The Bewitching Maiden, as you can see down there, and it's from artist Harrison Fisher, as you can see here, the signature. A little hard to read, but there it is. And it's obviously a pretty lady in a bonnet. These type of cards these artists signed have seem to have gone down in desirability and value over the past 10 years. I could be wrong on that, but that's at least from my perspective. It doesn't seem that the interest is as great as it used to be. But let's see, how long have I had this one? This one has been listed since 2021, so that's not horrible. But it did sell for $9.95. So I'm glad to see that one going out to somebody who can appreciate it. Next, we have an advertising card. This is just really kind of a postal card. As you can see, I guess this would be the back since it has the stamp and address on it. it has a little box over here. It says, going up, the tuition rates will soon be higher in the Ransomarian. First glance at this, I had like, what is that? I don't know what that means. It was postmarked 1909. Looking at the other side, which would be the front of the card, it says, don't forget, September 25th, 1909, positively the last chance to get the Ransomarian course at the old rate. After that date, you'll have to pay more. And it says down here, it's not an expense, only an investment that will bring you dividends as long as you live. If you can write better, you can get a better salary. So I take from that this is some kind of writing course, and whether it has to do with penmanship or writing style or a combination of the both, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with this. I never heard of this before, but I thought it was interesting, and somebody else did as well. It sold pretty quickly, and for the listing price of $5.95. So there's an advertising example. Next up, we have another military card. This is a Keep 'em Flying card. There were a series of these in the World War II era. This is a North American B-52 medium bomber. You see it's a beautiful plane there. It says Keep 'em Flying. It does show the branches of military, Army, Navy, Marine Corps there on the side. This is a Lenin era card, postally unused. A nice little view of the, I guess this is the same plane from like looking down on it, looking sideways and turned this way as well. A nice example of a military plane. That card sold for $7.95. Next we have a lot of cards. I've shown you these before. I've sold quite a few of these. Even though this is one sold, that's because I ran out of stock and had to restock. But this is a lot of 50 random unused chrome postcards. I have quite a bit of cards. I've bought a lot of large lots and collections, and as a result I've accumulated some cards that I have quite a few copies of. So I've put these into lots, and I sell them that way. They're in very clean, unused condition. They're suitable to use, and people seem to like those. This is a lot of 50, and you can see some of the more examples of what's in this lot. I'm only showing a few here, but they're all of typical style. A lot of all chrome era, a lot of nice town views and buildings. That lot of 50 sold for $19.95. That would also be a good lot for resellers, because I think every card in there could probably be sold for at least $5. Here we have another buyer who bought multiple cards, and this buyer bought 21 cards for a total of $66. This is just one of them. I'm not going to show you all 21. This is one of my favorites out of what she bought. This is a street scene in Sonora, Texas, and you've got the old cars and store fronts. That's a kind of a view that I really like personally. But she bought 21, and she contacted me after the sale to thank me. She made offers on all 21, and normally her offers were a little lower than what I would normally want to accept. But since she was buying so many, I was more open to that. And she said she was doing a project for some relatives to hopefully give them an appreciation of these areas. These cards were all from towns in Texas. And as I said, she bought a total of 21 cards for a total of $66. And I think this is the last card for today. This is a New Year's card, a Happy New Year. Here you have some angels or cupids, as whatever you prefer, toasting the man in the moon. And that's a real nice, colorful, attractive card. It is a divided back card. It is unused. You can see it's embossed. You can see the image from the front clearly there on the back. It's got a little bit of darkening or yellowing on the back, but that's really minor. It is otherwise in very nice, clean condition. And so that's a holiday type card, which I don't sell a lot of, but I do sell some, and this is a nicer example of that. This one sold for $5.95. There's the postcard pups. Say hi to Ellie and Lucy. That's all I have for you this week as far as what sold. And let's take a look at some things from my personal collection.
Bravo, Mark. That was an amazing look at this week's sales. Now it's time for our watchers to enjoy some more of your incredible postcard collection. What do you have in store for us today, Mark?
Let's do some more Lincoln Highway. Thank you once again, Reginald. That was a wonderful introduction. And yes, we are going to continue our journey along the Lincoln Highway in Pennsylvania. Last time when we left off, we had just gone through Latrobe, Pennsylvania, home of Arnold Palmer and Mr. Rogers. And now we are headed towards Ligonier, Pennsylvania. And the first stop here as we come up through Sleepy Hollow is the Sleepy Hollow Inn. This was a popular place to dine. They had banquet facilities there. They had live entertainment there. But several years back, this building burned to the ground. And it was eventually rebuilt exactly as the old building had been, but it has sat empty since then. So I don't know what's going to become of it, but the original building is gone. This is a linen view of it here. You can see it was 12 miles east of Greensburg and 7 miles west of Ligonier on Route 30, which is the Lincoln Highway. Here is a real photo view of it. And you can see these views are essentially the same. This linen view may have even been taken from this real photo. No, it doesn't have the awnings on it. But nonetheless, this is what it looked like in real life. And that's pretty much what it looks like today, other than it's just a building sitting empty, unfortunately. One more popular roadside spot that has seen its better days, I guess. Continuing on up through the hollow, we see here the Valley Market. This was like a local farmers market, fruit and vegetable stand here. On their sign, you see they are famous for their black walnut fudge. But this site too is no longer there. The little building here was there for a while, but it has since been taken away. So there's nothing but an empty lot here at this time. So not a lot more things to see as we get up through the hollow till we get closer to Ligonier. And as we do, we come to the Loyalhanna Viaduct. And that is a bridge that crosses the Loyalhanna Creek that takes us closer to Ligonier. Some other things that we would see as we cross this bridge, we would soon come to the Colonial Hotel. You could see this is 1 mile west of Ligonier. This was a restaurant, and it still is today. It still operates today, but it has gone several name changes over the years, and I'm not even sure what it's called today, but it is still in operation today. Here's another roadside stop on the Lincoln Highway just as after we crossed the bridge there. This is the Colonial Cafe. And you can see there, if we zoom in a little bit, get a better view here, the Colonial Coffee Shop. There's the building. You see they have some gas pumps. There's a white flash. There's a sign for Greyhound up there. A Pennzoil sign. Nice signage for you sign collectors. Amico. There's an old bus. And on this side, a couple older automobiles. But that was a place you could stop and get a bite to eat and fill up your gas tank. Very close to that same spot, we have the Blue Ridge service station. That's a quarter-mile west of Ligonier. And you can see a lot of nice signage on this building as well. They have home-cooked meals, lunches, and sandwiches open all night for your convenience. There's a 7-Up sign. There's a ladies' restroom inside. I guess you guys just have to hold it. And there's some gas pumps and an old automobile over there. So another interesting roadside stop as we're headed to Ligonier. And this is the road. This is Route 30 looking back towards Latrobe from Ligonier. You could way down here. I just showed you that card from, let's see, where is it? The Colonial Hotel here. That is right in this area down here. One of these buildings down here you can see. And this is at the time before the Lincoln Highway was made 4 lanes. You had 1 lane in each direction here, but now over here where these railroad tracks is another 2-lane highway, and these are both one-way sections. So this section we're looking at here is today you leave Ligonier headed towards Latrobe, and coming from Latrobe to Ligonier, you'd be coming up this way. Now at this point, we're just on the outskirts of town. So as we move along, here we are entering Ligonier on Lincoln Highway on the west end of town. This is residential area mostly. You can see some old autos there. As we get closer into town, the town is famous for its public square, which is also known as the Diamond. And this is a roundabout area where you have traffic coming in from 4 different directions, and you go around the square here, or the Diamond, to get to where you want to go. If you wanted to continue on Main Street, you'd turn right here, come around this way, go on over, and here you would make another right to continue on Main Street. If you made a left, you'd be on Route 711. And if you came around here and made a right here, you'd be on, you could also pick up Route 711. So the town is kind of famous for its gazebo here. It has been remodeled and or replaced over the years, but it is still there in that same spot, and they do hold events there. The Ligonier is also known for its market. They have a farmer's market, and they have a big, like an antiques and collectibles sale in the fall that they get a very big turnout for. So as we went around that Diamond and continued on Main Street, this is East Main Street, headed back out of town. But before we head out of town, let's look at some things that were in town. There were several hotels in downtown Ligonier. One of them here was Hoffman's Hotel and Restaurant, as you can see here in this real photo view. Here's an interior view there of the Japanese dining room. Kind of pretty elaborate decor in there. Now this hotel, Hoffman's, later became the Fort Ligonier Hotel, and I believe this is essentially the same building as this, but there's been some modifications. Some of these, this dormer and this peaked roof and this porch up here have been removed, and The wraparound porch has been removed also. I could be wrong, but I do see elements of the original building in this one, so I think it was extensively remodeled. But this hotel is still in operation today. Another hotel in downtown is the Hotel Brenizer. And this, I'm not sure, but there is a hotel called the Ligonier Inn still in operation in downtown Ligonier. And I think it might be this building. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to check on that. Another hotel in downtown Ligonier was the Hotel Monaco, as you can see here. This is a divided back card. It's got a few punctures over here. Holes look like ticket punches in the edge of the card, but still a good view. And as we continue heading on out of town, we have another hotel, roadside place. This is Murphy's Inn. I do not know exactly where this was located or if this building still exists. I'd have to do a little research on that. But that is another roadside stop along the way as we're leaving Ligonier and we're headed towards Laughlin Town, Pennsylvania. And as we head out of town, this is Main Street, the east end of Main Street, as we saw before on this view. If we continue on down here, we would come to this point as we start to leave the residential and business area of town, and we head out towards what is known as Laughlin Town. But first, as you see, as the road bends here, this far bend here, as we would go around that bend, just a very short distance from there, we would come to the Ligonier Valley Bathing Beach, which would be on our right-hand side. This, again, was a very, very popular spot, summertime spot, for many, many years. They have a giant pool here. They had a little auditorium area, and there's snack shops here, and just a lot of things you could do here. Unfortunately, again, like many other things, it is now closed. The last I drove up through there, the pool was still there. And the at least one or two of these buildings was still intact. I don't know what plans the township has for that spot, but I guess we'll see as time goes on. I do know that the neon sign that used to be out along the road here has been taken down as in storage. I'm glad to hear that. So I hope something will be done with that to at least preserve that part of it. Here's a more modern view. This is probably a 60s era view of Ligonier Valley Beach. Looking back towards the road, the highway would be up here, and some of these buildings you see here are what you see from here. So this view would be from back here somewhere looking in this direction. But you can see it's always busy in the summertime. Lots of cars over here in the parking lot, but alas, it has gone the way of the dinosaur. So, moving on, another thing that has gone the way of the dinosaur, we have these colonial coffee shop cottages. You recall, we looked at a card of the colonial coffee shop back here. Just a little further beyond there, they had these cottages. I'm not sure how many of them there were. They're showing 4, but I think there were maybe 6 of them. Just a quick correction on that. I paused for a moment to look, and I had some other cards of these cottages, and I did have one that showed 8 of these. So there were actually 8, not 6. And that's a place you could stop and stay overnight. It's a very small room, but all you needed was a bed and maybe a chair or a small table. And these were well used as travelers made their way along the Lincoln Highway. Again, most of these do not exist today, but I know that several of them were saved and they were relocated a little bit back down the road a little ways, and they were refurbished, and they can be rented again today. So glad to see that they were able to save a little bit of history and a little bit of roadside memorabilia. So if you're ever up through the Ligonier area, you might want to stay in one of these little cottages. Well, that's all I have for you today as far as the Lincoln Highway goes. We're going to continue the journey. I'm trying to do it in the same manner as if you were actually traveling the highway. You'll excuse me if I get a few things maybe a little out of order, but I'm trying to keep everything in order as best as I can. So as we continue this journey next time, we're going to be going into Laughlintown, Pennsylvania, and then headed up over the mountain towards Jennerstown. So this is where we'll leave off and pick up next time. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this. If you like this video, please give me a like. And as always, I welcome your comments on what I'm doing here. If there's something you like, please let me know that. If there's something you don't like, please let me know that. If there's something else you'd like to see me do, tell me about that as well. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I ask you to please do that. That helps me to reach more people with this content. And as always, I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.